everyone. This is Wendell Macapangal and I am here to dictate about the Republic Act number 9262.
Republic Act No. 9262. Prepared by Wendy Lynn J. Macapangal. Section 1. This act shall be known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. Section 2 Declaration of Policy. Section 3 Definition of terms used in this act. A. Physical violence. An act include bodily or physically harm. B. Sexual violence. An act which is sexual in nature. Under these are A. Rape or sexual harassment. B. Acts or attempting to cause victim sexual activity by force. C. Prostituting the woman or child. C. Psychological violence likely to cause mental or emotional suffering. D. Economic abuse. An act that make or attempt a woman financially dependent. 1. Withdrawal of financial support. 2. Deprivation. 3. Destroying household property. 4. Controlling the victim's own money. B. Battery. An act of inflicting physical harm upon women and their children. C. Battered women syndrome. Behavioral of symptoms found in women living in battering relationship. D. Stalking. An intentional justification follows the women and their child under surveillance directly or indirectly. E. Dating relationship. A situation wherein the parties live as husband and wife without benefit of marriage. F. Sexual relations. Single sexual act which may or may not result in bearing a common child. G. SFE. Place or shelter. Any home maintained by the DSWD is temporarily willing to receive the victim. H. Children refers to below age 18 but are incapable of taking care of themselves. Section 4 Construction. This act shall be liberally construed to promote the protection and safety of the victims against women and their children. Section 5. Acts of violence against women and their children. A. Causing physical harm to the women and child. B. Threatening to cause the women and child physical harm. C. Attempting to cause the women physical harm. D. Placing the woman or her child in fear of imminent physical harm. E. Attempting to compel the women and their child conduct by force. 1. Threatening to deprive custody to his, her family. 2. Depriving insufficient financial support. 3. Depriving of legal right. 4. Preventing the woman engaging any legitimate profession, controlling the victim's money. F. Inflicting physical harm or oneself for the purpose of controlling her actions or decisions. G. Causing a woman and her child to engage in any sexual act. H. Engaging in purposeful that alarms emotional distress to a woman includes 1. Stalking or following the woman and child in private and public places. 2. Peering in the window or lingering outside the residence of the woman and child. 3. Entering or remaining in the dwelling against her, his will. 4. Destroying the property. 5. Engaging in any form of harassment violence. Section 6 Penalties under Section 5 shall be punished. A. Revised Penal Code. B. Acts falling under Section 5C and 5D shall be punished by arresto mayor. C. Acts falling under Section 5E shall be punished by prison correctional. D. Acts falling under Section 5F shall be punished by arresto mayor. E. Acts falling under Section 5G shall be punished by prison mayor. F. Acts falling under Section 5H and Section 5I shall be punished by prison mayor. In addition, imprisonment. The perpetrator A. shall pay fine not less than 100,000 pesos but not more than 300,000 pesos. B. Undergo mandatory psychological counseling or psychiatrist treatment and shall report compliance to the court. Section 7 Venue. The regional trial court shall have original and exclusive jurisdiction over cases of violence against women and their children under this law. Section 8 Protection Orders. A protection order is an order issued under this Act for the purpose of preventing further acts. A. Prohibition of the respondent from threatening to commit or committing, personally or through another, any of the acts mentioned in Section 5 of this Act. B. Prohibition of the respondent from harassing. C. Removing and exclusion of the respondent from the residence of the petitioner, regardless of ownership of the residence whither temporarily for the purpose of protecting petitioner. D. Directing the respondents to stay away from petitioner and designated family or household member at a distance specified by the court. E. Directing lawful possession and use of petitioner of an automobile and other essential personal effects. F. Granting a temporary or permanent custody of a child or children to the petitioner. G. Directing the respondent to provide support to the woman and/or her child if entitled to legal support. H. Prohibition of the respondent from any use or possession of any firearm or deadly weapon and order him to surrender. I. Restitution for actual damages caused by the violence inflicted. J. Directing the DSWD or any appropriate agency to provide petitioner may need. K. Provision of such other forms of relief as the court seems necessary to protect and provide for the safety of the petitioner. Section 9 Who may file protection for protection orders. A petition for protection order may be filed by any of the following. A. The offended party. B. Parents or guardians of the offended party. C. Ascendants, descendants or collateral relatives within the fourth civil degree of consanguinity or affinity. D. Officers of social workers of the DSWD or social workers of the local government units or the LGUs. E. Police officers, preferably those who are in charge of women and children's desk. F. Punong Barangay or Barangay Kagawad. G. Lawyer, counselor, therapist or healthcare provider petitioner. H. At least 2 concerned responsible citizens of the city or municipality where the violence against women and children occurred, and who has personal knowledge of the offense committed. Section 10 Where to apply for a protection order under Section 409 of the Local Government Code of 1991 and its implementing rules and regulations. Section 11 How to apply for a protection order. Must be in writing, signed and verified under oath by the applicant. A. Names and addresses of petitioner and respondents. B. Description of relationships between petitioner and respondents. C. A statement of the circumstances of the abuse. D. Description of the relies requested by petitioner as specified in Section 8 wherein. E. Request for counsel and reasons for such. F. Request for waiver of application fee until hearing. G. An attestation that there is no pending application in another court. The application must have an affidavit of the applicant. A. The circumstances of the abuse suffered by the victim. B. The circumstances to consent given by the victim for the filling of the applicant. Section 12 Enforceability of protection orders. Section 13 Legal representation of petitioners for protection order. Section 14 Barangay protection orders. Section 15 Temporary protection order. Section 16 Permanent protection order. Section 17 Notice of sanction in protection orders. Violation of this order is punishable by law. Section 18 Mandatory period for acting on applications for protection orders. Section 19 Legal separation. Section 20 Priority of applications for a protection order. Section 21 Violation of protection orders. Section 22 Applicability of protection orders to criminal cases. Section 23 Bond to keep the peace. Section 24 Prescriptive period. Section 25 Public crime. Section 26 Battered women syndrome as defense. Section 27 Prohibited defense. Section 28 Custody of children. Section 29 Duties of prosecutor or court personnel. A. Communication with the victim in a language understood by the women and children. B. Inform the victim of his or her rights, including legal remedies available, procedure and privileges for indigents. Section 30. Duties of barangay officials and law enforcers. A. Respond immediately to a call for help. B. Confiscate any deadly weapon. C. Transport the victim to a safe place. D. Assist the victim in removing personal belongings from the house. E. Assist the barangay officials who respond to a call for help. F. Ensure the enforcement of the protection orders issued by the court. G. Arrest the suspected perpetrator without warrant. H. Immediately report the call for assessment or assistance of DSWD. Section 31. Healthcare provider response to abuse. A. Properly document any of the victim's physical, emotional and psychological injuries. B. Properly record any of the victim's suspicious observation and circumstances of the examination or visit. C. Automatically provide the victim free of charge a medical certificate concerning the examination or visit. D. Safeguards the records and make them available to the victim upon request at actual cause. E. Provide the victim immediate and adequate notice of rights and remedies provided under this Act and services available to them. Section 32. Duties of other government agencies and LGUs. Section 33. Prohibited acts. Section 34. Persons intervening exempt from liability. Section 35. Rights of victims. A. To be treated with respect and dignity. B. To avail legal assistance the Department of Justice. C. To be entitled to support services from the DSWD and LGUs. D. To be entitled to all legal remedies and support as provided for under the Family Code. E. To be informed of their rights and the services available to them, including their right to apply for a protection order. Section 36. Damages. Section 37. Hold departure order. Section 38. Exemption from payment of pocket fee and other expenses. Section 39. Interagency Council of Violence Against Women and Children. A. Department of Social Welfare and Development. B. National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women. C. Civil Service Commission. D. Commission of Human Rights. E. Council for the Welfare of Children. F. Department of Justice. G. Department of the Interior and Local Government. H. Philippine National Police. I. Department of Health. J. Department of Education. K. Department of Labor and Employment. L. National Bureau of Investigation. Section 40. Mandatory programs and services for victims. Section 41. Counseling and treatment of offenders. Section 42. Training of persons involved in responding to violence against women and their children cases. A. The nature, extent and causes. B. The legal rights of and remedies. C. The services and facilities available to victims or survivors. E. Techniques for handling incidents. Section 43. Entitled to leave. Section 44. Confidentially. Section 45. Funding. Section 46. Implementing rules and regulations. Section 47. Suppletory application. Section 48. Separability clause. Section 49. Repealing clause. Section 50. Effectivity. All are credited and belongs to its rightful owner. God bless everyone and stay safe.